Karen, I just want to know, did you have the stuff hanging out in your closet?
Facebook.
Yeah, I volunteered, well, the socks are new. I volunteered for a church organization, and every year we did an annual Christmas bazaar. And I was in the Secret Santa shop, so I worked with all the little kiddos who came in to shop for their parents. So yeah, I've had it for years.
And that you don't have cell
When you plug it in. Might turn out the way I expected. We had neighbors They got home from the game. They opened the patio door up and let me talk.
Give me just a second, I'm looking at making sure you guys are on.
They never expected it was us. They thought the neighbors across the street. So I'm the next day.
It's not online.
Did you see what? No. Wow. Somebody.
Great, guys, come on in, there are plenty of seats. Mike's got a seat open. Okay, Lori, are we on Zoom and we're recording?
Yeah, Nicole's coming.
Awesome. Hey guys, welcome to the office meeting. Come on in, grab a seat. Ugly sweater contest. You know, just for fun. But we do have some participants, so we'll do that at the end. Our quote of the day is progress always requires change, from our good author John C. Maxwell.
Nope.
Hold on. All right, somebody's got it. All right, pledge allegiance.
Nice.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Looks like my kid.
His hair sticker.
Right there.
I'll get the bowl and we'll give business cards before we go. All right, since it's Thanksgiving and we're coming from gratitude and appreciation, we have a couple of thank yous.
I would like to say thank you for getting Peter Ruth here yesterday.
Yeah.
That could have went on for hours.
It could have, and a big shout out to Greg Jean, he's the one who arranged it, which was awesome. And you know, Greg is here, we're on Zoom, but yeah, we appreciate him setting that up for us. And we're going to talk more about that with Training Tuesdays that are coming to our market center after Thanksgiving.
I want to thank everyone that was able to attend or provide for the potluck last week. I mean, we had great weather. Events. So I was really happy to see that.
It was a great turnout. Steve, I need the bowl when you get a chance, please. What else we got? It's Thanksgiving. We should have a whole bunch. What are we grateful for?
Turkey.
Yeah, we had a great turkey. Great turkey coming up. Yes, Cindy.
I just want to thank Megan Link for always keeping me compliant and keeping my stuff rolling along.
Absolutely, and I will second that. I was in the weeds with the relocation company, and I sent her all of the emails and said, "Fix this," and she did. So thank you. Do we have any other thank yous or gratitudes? Let's go up one more, and then we'll keep on rolling. I want to do another great thank you to our culture committee who keeps overcoming obstacles, and we're doing a great potluck. And we're looking forward to a great Christmas party. So we received this in the mail yesterday. It was fun. Our total commissions earned, units sold, profit share earned us a platinum award, double gold, and so that was exciting. Our Toys for Tot drive has started. The box is outside. The next time you're in the office, bring some toys for tots. I believe it goes until like 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. So. Happy birthday to everybody on the board. Do we have anybody here? And our anniversaries, Abby is here. Happy anniversary, Abby. Time to go. Want to welcome our new faces to Keller Williams, Erin Becker, Brian, Herb and Christina, and Charles as well. So a couple new faces in York, Hanover, Chambersburg, and Gettysburg. All right, back row. I'll start over here. Just run right through them, one right after the other. Ready? Go. Win, win, or no deal.
Win-win or no deal.
Integrity, do the right thing.
Customers always come first.
Commitment in all things. Communications, seek first to understand.
Creativity, ideas before results.
Teamwork, together, everyone achieves more.
Trust starts with honesty. Equity, opportunities for all.
Success results through people.
Thank you. So we go over our belief system every single time, and I just want to bring it to light and shed a little bit more importance on it. So it's not just something we're running through, but it's something that we actually do believe in. So Mo Anderson, who knows Mo? Who knows about Mo? All right, so Mo Anderson is our cultural leader. She was president, vice president. She's currently the vice chairman of the board for Keller Williams. She was instrumental in coming up with goals and really developing our culture. And she says that culture is the predetermined way we agree we will treat one another. So the 4 pillars of our culture are our belief system, which we just ran through, our mission and vision, our culture and action, and our 6 personal perspectives. We're going to do a class on the 6 personal perspectives. Well, it's challenging for me. In March. That's the goal anyway. So our mission is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. Who here believes that? Like, who here is working towards having that legacy worth living? Who here wants to have all the experiences worth giving? Like, that's our mission for not only everybody in the room, all of my Zoomy friends, but also everybody in Keller Williams. And this is how we bring people outside Keller Williams and what we want them to come in and experience. Our vision to doing that is to be the company of choice for all of our agents and customers in the area. And then, of course, our values, which we talk about all the time, God, family, then business, and no transaction is worth a reputation, or Keller Williams' reputation. We went over our belief system. Our belief system supports all of those things in our culture that we just went over. Our Perspective, a technology company that provides real estate platform that our agents and buyers and sellers prefer. Do you know who just closed their doors? Redfin iBuyers. Gone. Closed their doors last week. It's out. We had a couple other, like Zillow has closed a couple of their iBuyer platforms. Like, our technology supports us, not the other way around. So we're gonna lean in big time into technology. We're gonna lean in into Command. We are in a shifting market. We've been talking about it for months. It's here, it's happening. We're starting to see the changes in York. So as we dig into being a technology company, we're gonna support each other, and I'm gonna support you through training. Part of our Perspective is to act as a trainer consultant. So, hey Belinda, come on in. There's a seat right back there. So we are having Training Tuesdays. Training Tuesdays are not mandatory, but they are so important that they are mandatory, okay? Like, you need to be here. And if you were on Zoom yesterday, I'm really sorry we didn't get the Peter Ruth thing set up appropriately. I will do my best to set things up on Zoom, but it is not my priority. My priority is the people who made the time and the effort to be here, to make the drive to York and to be in the office. So rearrange your schedules, make childcare arrangements. Tuesday's the day you need to be in the office. We'll do lead generation. We'll have a training session at 11 and a training session at 1. And here's your November and December schedule, okay? Lori and I are gonna work together to do this in Hanover as well, since we have a big office and it's a little bit easier for Gettysburg to get to Hanover as well. Okay, very exciting stuff. So be sure to take one of these. I'll just go ahead and start passing them around like elementary school. It's fun. So, does anybody have any questions about our culture, about our mission, about our Perspective, about being a technology company first? All right, are you guys ready to like lean in hard into Command and training? We're in a skill set market. Let's be the best ones out there, right? All right, yes?
Yeah.
All right, I'm here for you. I'm gonna lean into you if you guys lean into me. Okay, wait, I missed one. So part of culture and action is your behavior. Listen, Mo Anderson put like 50 of these up here. I got to like number 13 and was like, I'm just gonna put my favorite one, which is 7 hugs a day. So I'm a firm believer in 7 hugs a day. I even have like my friends at church, including my priest, who does 7 hugs a day. So if I come in, if you see me, you know I'm coming in for a hug. I will tell you that I usually get 4 of them at home before I leave. But today I did this opportunity for us. Okay. Training Tuesdays, we talked about 11 o'clock will be a little bit of a basis foundation. And I'm sorry, it should be the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock one will be a little bit more of a deeper dive and for our advanced level agents. And Command will be a big part of it. So this is a really fun fact. If you went to CommandCon, it's been on all of our growth and leadership calls. But for single agents that have 200 to 400 contacts in Command, their average GCI is $119,000 annually. If you are not using Command, now is the time to start. This is where we're going to go from this crazy fast market we've been in to being skill-based. We're going to do it in Command. It is working across the country and it's working for teams. It's not the Command we knew 2 years ago. It has been fixed. It's rolling, and the people who are using it at a high level are saving a lot of money and making a great amount of profit. Okay. So I'm off my high horse now. Let's celebrate some fun stuff. How about Mr. Ron, right? $5,826,000. He capped in 1 month.
5 million.
5 million.
Sorry, 5 million. That's not what I meant. 5,826,000, right?
I think he has a new construction.
16 units. Normally a $2 million month puts you at the top of the board. Petula was also there. Lori was there, which is phenomenal. Big round of applause for everybody. Anything above $1 million also has you on the top of the board. Kayla and Greg topped out over $1 million as well. Liz Hamburger is back on top this month, laying right behind. The Accardo team made the board. Congratulations. So congratulations. This was a great month. Definitely very exciting. It still shows that Keller Williams is continuing to outperform even the York County market. Congratulations, Ron. Our other cappers, Mike Jones in the room. Yeah, he's joined us via Zoom.
January.
Oh, that's great. That's like so. Perfect.
Upcoming events. So tonight, Movement Mortgage will be at the RAYAC event. It's Thankful for Our Members event. It's supposed to be a lot of fun. I'm sad I'm missing it. I have to go to fun. Tomorrow will be fun. It's gonna be a lot of work. But if you can make it, definitely make it out.
And please note that it's not at the Outdoor Country Club, it's at the Country Club of York. So,
Fancy.
typically we tend to end up at the Outdoor Country Club, but we're at the Country Club of York. So
Alfonso.
over by Regents Glen and York Country Day. So,
Ooh, the fancy one.
yeah, it'll be a nice event. Food, the whole event is from 5 to 7, but the food, free food is from 5:30 to 6:30, and it's a cash walk.
Fantastic, thank you. Adams County Economic and Real Estate Update is at the end of the month, out in Adams County, which is fantastic.
It is free, but please register.
And then diversity, equity, and inclusion, why it's important to the community event as well. I know Roxanne is heavily involved in this as well.
And I thought it was yesterday, so I went yesterday to RAYAC at noon, and it's on the 30th.
Nobody was there.
Nobody was there, so one of those things. And unfortunately, I won't be able to be there on that day because I'll
When you
be
pull in, there's no.
in Nebraska
Two.
having
Sean isn't there.
RAYAC events with my parents. But it should be a good event.
You should say cardiac events.
Yes.
Does Roxanne have any comments for me? All right, fantastic. Any other RAYAC events that we want to shed light on? Our Keller Williams upcoming events, we're closed over the Thanksgiving break. We also have the digital FSO or franchise system orientation coming the 28th, 29th, and 30th, which is online. Wealth Building Wednesdays. If you are dedicated to building your profit tree and building your wealth through various streams, Wealth Building Wednesday is a fantastic class to jump on and just learn.
What's that guy's last name?
Good luck with that. And then we have the World of Tech, the Women's Agent Mastermind in Westchester, PA, which I'm also going to try and go to.
I'm going.
You're going? Awesome, Mindy.
Myself, Nicole, Lori,
Kayla's
Kristen.
going.
Yep.
Roxanne's going.
Strong York chick showing.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, fantastic. I love it. I'm hoping to bring some guests along with me, so we'll see how that goes. And then we also have other KWRI classes. So you know Dave is really good about sending us invites for all of that. So just pay attention to your calendar. If you only read one email from the front desk, read the weekly one that comes out on Friday. Tell Michael Hargett, he doesn't have to read it till Monday, but it does come out on Friday. That one has all of this information in it and all the links to everything, all the important information, links to RAYAC, all their events. That's the one to catch. Okay.
I actually love that. I've been reading it and it's helpful.
Yeah, it's really great. And his introduction for the potluck last week was fantastic. So do I have anybody from the culture committee who wants to talk about our holiday party?
I think this is the culture committee right here, isn't it?
Says you.
Dave, you want to give us an update?
No. I don't. So I guess the latest update is that it's no longer. The latest update is it's no longer gonna happen at where are we at?
Yorktown.
The Yorktown. It's not gonna be ready in time, so.
Why?
Kristen.
They called us,
It's not gonna be ready.
2 days
So-
ago to say it's not gonna be ready and they had to cancel it.
Oh.
So all of this happened
They
on
still,
Monday.
they still are having, from what I've heard through the rumor mill, it's supply chain issues with the kitchen appliances. Like they have had the kitchen, like the professional ovens and stoves and all that, refrigerators on order for like 2 years, 3 years or whatever. And they just don't have them. So they don't want to do like outside caterers for the very first few events, because then everybody will assume that that's the catering that's gonna happen there. They want to do their own kitchens and their own everything, but they're waiting for the appliances is what I've heard. Like everything.
So now
is-
what?
So now we're having it at the Wyndham Garden. The rooms are cheaper, so if you still want to get a room, they are cheaper, and also it works out, we get an extra hour on the time, so the party will be an extra hour.
Yay.
You know what?
That's more
I
dance
say
time.
that's really a good job giving so much last minute stuff happening.
Yes.
So kudos to you guys.
What time is it?
I think it's
Is
originally-
it
5:30
to 10:30? 5:30 to 10:30. Okay, Andrew.
I'm short and sweet this week. I don't have a whole lot. So for those of you who don't know, rates came down like a half a point. Like last week, it was like, oh, half a point.
Refinance.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, for like your government backed loans, you're probably high fives, low sixes for like decent credit. Conventional stuff's probably low sixes. So if that's if you have like good credit, but you know, that'll help with a lot of people. I mean, I think, you know, you talk about like this market shift come in, right? It's like you still see housing stats that say 8 days average marketing time. So it's like, it's just not here. And I don't think rates coming down are gonna probably help that quite. So if you have people that were like sitting on the fence, it may be a good time to have another conversation with them and be like, rates drop back down, values keep going up, like you're missing out kind of thing, like develop that sense of urgency for them, try to push them, because I think a lot of people are gonna have a little bit of regret. Because it's just like it hasn't shown signs of like completely turning off. And the reports that we're getting now say that rates are probably at the turn of the year gonna come down even further. So, you know, I think that's only gonna kind of propel the market forward a little bit. And if you guys can make it tonight, I'll buy you a drink, come out 5 to 7 at the country club. We're hosting, so let me know what I can do. If you see me there, come get a ticket. All right?
Thank you.
Yeah. You're supposed to sign this.
All right, next we'd like to introduce hometown real estate settlements. Everybody recognizes Amanda from our office. So if you guys want to. I'm sorry, it's just.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Brooke. I'm part of Hometown Real Estate Settlements in Gettysburg. You guys, probably everybody knows Amanda. She's located here in the York office. We started Hometown Real Estate Settlements in 2021. My mentor Dana Dell, a lot of you might know her from Mason Dixon. She trained me, and we decided to expand and grow in the New York office, which we have been able this year in 2022. Shannon McCain, she's our assistant as well. She works with me at the Gettysburg office, but she can assist Amanda here in the future as well.
So yes, I work out of this office. You can see my office is around the corner. I know some of you have already used me a few times. Thank you. But my name is Amanda. I got my real estate license back in 2015 with Kayla Sterling. You know her. One of our instructors was Maria Cardo. So I learned everything from her. I went to title in 2018. I was way out in Lancaster with Treasure Homes and Neighborhoods. They had a joint venture for title out there. And then I went up to Camp Hill and was a lawyer there for a while. So now I'm down here where I live in New York. So I've never done title in New York until now. So I'm really excited to be close to home and helping people that I know, my neighbors, with my title.
Yeah, I work in the Gettysburg office. I look familiar. I used to be the front desk admin at Gettysburg. Started there in 2018. I was a personal assistant for another agent. 8 years prior to that. So I have a lot of the real estate background. Title was kind of new for me when I was approached to do it. I was like, I know nothing about title. So I've learned a lot. I just recently got licensed officially in August. And it's been a good learning experience. I've really enjoyed it so far.
You're Brianna's sister,
And I'm Brianna Bridges.
right? Bridges.
We've been around the state a long time. So, both of us and Amanda, we like to share with everybody that we are willing to travel. You know, I work in Gettysburg. I go to Hanover a lot. I've been here a few times for settlement. Amanda came to Gettysburg one time. I go to Chambersburg, Keller Williams a lot for settlements as well. So we're willing to travel to you guys if you need us. I actually have a deal in Lancaster this coming month. We're not going to Lancaster, thank God, but I think we're settling here. And then I have one in Fulton County, which we're going to change a bit about that too. So
Chambers.
we just wanted to share a couple tips that we when working with agents that a lot of clients don't know, or newer agents don't know, in order to prepare and make a smoother closing and make it easy for us and for you guys. Sandy, you want to share what you handed out?
I handed out to you guys, obviously my information, and also the buyer information sheet. So tell me about the property, tell me about the buyer. I will need those social security numbers. I'm very sorry. I know it's hard to provide them out in the hands of your buyers, but we do need to check if they're in bankruptcy or have house support. So
That goes for sellers too. I've had sellers get on the phone saying my mortgage company, my bank doesn't even have my social security. It's like, that's a lie, they do. They have to have it. We have to have it. And if a lot of people are uncomfortable sharing with it via email, that's fine. We encourage them to call instead and give it to them personally.
So literally, if you hand me this packet with all the information completed, the last page is a affiliated business disclosure that just says that Keller Williams is friends with Hometown. So we can work together, so the buyer knows that. If you complete this and hand it to me, we can get started and we'll take it to settlement very easily.
Couple other reminders at settlement, always remind your clients to bring a photo ID. Most agents are really good with it. I had one client come without it, but it wasn't a big deal. They will take a picture and send it to me later, and that was sufficient enough. Another thing is bank and cashier's checks. We cannot take personal checks at settlement for your buyer's cash to close. You know, we cannot accept a bad money. It has to be that. So it has to be any checks over any amount over $1,000 has to be a bank and cashier's check. We do not take personal checks. And then the last one is always call to verify wiring instructions. Some buyers prefer to wire their money to us. And sometimes sellers also like their funds wired to them as well. Please always encourage them. We'll email them the wiring instructions, but please, please, please make sure they call us to double check those because of cybersecurity and fraud going around. Dana, my mentor, actually had someone, her email got stolen from the agent and the numbers got flipped. And thank God the buyer called her because they would have been out $250,000. So it's important to always call to verify those. And that's it. So thanks for taking the time with us. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Like I said, Amanda's around the corner there. If you have any questions, she's always a step away.
I just wanted to say that I personally have used Amanda several times here in the office, just like with Megan right around the corner. It's nice to have a one-stop shop, and Brooke has done settlements in Gettysburg for both Courtney and I. So thank you, ladies.
Yeah.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to invite Michelle to come up from Accountability, which I have to tell you, I love this name. It's a great accounting name, right? Yeah, my job is to keep everybody accountable.
Yeah, you don't have to be afraid. No, actually intentionally did not provide any slides. I didn't come with a prepared presentation because I find this time of year is when I start getting a ton of calls with accounting questions. So I kind of wanted to put the focus back on you guys, so I made sure I answered your questions and your concerns. Erin was kind enough to give me 3 topics, so I have something to start with, but then if you have questions afterwards, we can just jump right into it. So the reason why I get a lot of questions this time of year is because usually for most of you guys it's somewhat of a downtime, which means you're either planning for your 2023 year, you're trying to figure out you have last minute tax strategies you take advantage of, or for some of you guys, you haven't done anything for 22 and you want to know how to fix that. So that's basically what we're dealing with this time of year. So one of the questions I'm going to start off with the easiest that Erin proposed was most common realtor tax deductions. You guys have a sheet in front of you. This is not an exhaustive list, right? Anything that has to do with business, most likely you can write it off. I say most likely because what I may feel is business, you may not. For example, men might want haircuts and they think they can write that off. It's not a business expense. We get haircuts all the time. So things like that. Clothing. So I highlight a couple of them. A couple of them I get a lot of questions on regularly. Clothing. If you have a monogrammed item, like a Keller Williams sweater, of course you guys can write that all off. But just clothes that you use on a daily basis, unfortunately, you cannot. It's not considered a business.
What about the ugly sweater? It's ugly sweater.
Well, couple other items on here. Mileage. This is a really sensitive subject for a lot of my realtors. Make sure you guys use an app. It's a real hassle for you to track it manually. You're more than welcome to. However I did it, I'm happy with. But there are so many great apps out there. Just take advantage of them. It's gonna make your life a lot easier. When I go through an audit, the number 1 item they're looking for is a mileage log. And I can't tell you, some agents are okay with a calendar, some are like, just toss it out. And usually it's not worth appealing. So just keep it log. It's not rocket science. This is a good question about mileage though. A lot of you guys are using your car, probably majority for business, right? Maybe 75% of the time. So some of you may be writing off your automobile, which is a great tax deduction if that works for you guys. You still have to keep a log. You can't just take, you have to keep a log whether you take actual expenses or you take the mileage rate. So just to give everybody a heads up on that. Travel for business. So oftentimes we have conferences, let's say we have a conference in Hawaii, we're gonna stay an extra week. We can write off the business portion of that and then unfortunately can't write off the personal piece. So by all means, take your airfare, all of your lodging, all of your meals and entertainment that are associated with the business portion. You stay an extra week, just use your personal card to charge the extra personal piece. Now I always find that a little gray where I'll pick up maybe a day or 2 on the end and I can still pass that off as being a business, as long as you're not taking advantage of it. I think you guys are fine. Let's see what else we have on here. Health insurance. Health insurance is not a business expense, but it is a tax deduction. So make sure that you account for that when you're doing your taxes. I'm not sure, does Keller Williams have a health insurance plan here? Comes out of commission checks, maybe?
No.
No, okay, so you guys are just paying for it.
Can't afford you.
Cell phone and internet. So I'm gonna back up. I'm gonna do home office deduction. If you are paying rent for an office here, you cannot also take a home deduction. You can take one or the other. You have to have exclusive use. So if you're not paying for rent here because the fees are set up a little bit different and you're working primarily from home, then by all means, we can take home office deduction. Whether you, in the industry you're in, whether you take a home office deduction or not, I'm usually deducting internet for my clients because you guys are using it primarily at home, right? So I can write that off. Cell phone usage. You're on a family plan, 4 people on there. I can't write all 4 phones off. However, we can write off your piece times the business usage. So if you've got a bill that's $250 and if you're the primary on there and it's 150, I'm going to take 150. If we have to divide it out over the amount of phones, then we'll do that as well. So we try to see how can we maximize that deduction for you guys with not breaking any rules. But we take the business percentage.
So if you're kind of more of a part-time agent and you're really only using the phone 50% for business, then I would take that $150 and I'd multiply it by 50%. That would be the deduction. Does anybody have any questions on any of that? So kind of run into, I think for the most part, I think most of you guys are pretty experienced, so kind of know all of this. Are there any specific tax deductions you guys have questions about? Yes.
Are there any tax deductions that would like also go against how much I made in that year? Like if I wanted to write off X amount, but it would look like I made that much less or no?
I'm not sure I truly so if you made 100 grand in commissions and you have 25 grand in expenses, you got $75,000 of profit, right? Are you saying something that would reduce?
Yeah, I
your
was
income?
talking to Andrew the other day. He said there's some tax write-offs that you can like write off so you won't get taxed on that 5 grand, but it still looks like you made that. So then if you want to apply for a loan or something.
So health insurances would lower your income, something like that. Retirement plans, they are not going to reduce your business income either, but they are a tax deduction depending on what kind of retirement plan that you have. When you're qualifying for a loan, there's other things that people usually they'll add back. For instance, the car that I just brought up. If you bought a car and we basically zeroed out your income, so you didn't have any income taxes, well, that's great for you. Usually if you're going for a loan, they'll add that car back to show that you made 50 grand in income.
Ah, okay.
So that's kind of how it works.
Okay.
And the things that get added back, those are assets. A car would be an asset. An asset is really anything that I say over $250 that you're gonna get longer than a year for use out of a computer, cell phone, things like that. Does anybody else have any questions about? Yeah.
Speaking of cars, is there any difference from a write-off perspective if you're leasing a car versus you own a car and you make a payment on it?
There's some subtle differences. The cool thing about owning the car is I get the option to write it out if you're having, write it completely off if you're having a great year. I don't get that same opportunity.
If you're having a what?
If you're having a great year
Yeah.
and you're trying to reduce your income and you just happens to be you're buying a car, I would get the opportunity to decide whether to write that entire automobile off in 1 year. So, does that make a little bit of sense?
So you buy a $30,000 car and you finance it, you're up full $30,000 in that 1 year. That's what you're saying?
Yeah,
You don't have to write it off. I got you.
So cars have a 5-year life, which means the IRS allows us to spread that 30 grand over 5 years. However, if you have a profit, I can choose to write that whole 30 grand off in 1 year. Now there's some strategy. Do you really need it? You know, if you had a phenomenal year and you weren't expecting it, then we may want to take it. But that kind of comes down to more of a personal situation.
Can it be 100% of the payment? Like
There's some luxury rules in there as well that kind of play into that.
Because I feel like the whole reason I have a car sometimes is so I can work. You know,
Well, for
like,
you guys it is,
it's
right?
like, I live in the city, so it's like I could like walk everywhere, you know? But
I would be definitely putting your automobile in the business for sure. The reason why you don't want to put a car inside of a business is, you're in a high-risk industry for being sued, right? As being a realtor. If you put that car inside of the business and you get sued and you lose, they can take your car. If you take the mileage rate, the standard mileage rate, and leave it outside of the business, they can't come get the car. So that's a big factor as well. It kind of is, you know, questions I'd be asking are, what type of business entity are you? What type of volume are you doing? You know what I mean? So some other questions might come in there.
So if you deduct that car all in 1 year, can you still, can you take any of it over the life of the car then, or no? Like, can you do mileage the following year?
No, once you put that car in use, you have to stay with whatever you've chosen the first year. Now you get to write off gas, all your repairs and maintenance on it and things of that nature. But because you've already written off the whole 30 grand, you don't get any more of that.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
Is there still the 6,000 pounds
limit? That starts to play into some other factors. So yes, you have a good point. Right now we have bonus depreciation, which is another way that we can write off things.
Any other questions? Okay. What about my friends on Zoom? Any questions from our Zoomies?
No question. Okay.
So I have one more question. It doesn't pertain exactly to taxes. So I was told the other day by some clients that if you sell your house before the 2 years,
Mhm.
you now pay capital gains. Is that correct?
It's always been that way, but usually it's prorated.
It's prorated? Okay.
You might be able to answer the same question too. If they sell in less than 2 years and they use the funds that they do make, it's their primary residence, and they use those funds to purchase a new home. Are they still getting charged capital gains? Okay.
You're kind of mixing an old rule, years and years ago,
Okay.
might even been 10 years ago now. As long as you use all of the funds to purchase another property, you were fine, you didn't pay any capital gains. That rule went away
Okay.
with this 2 out of 5 year rule. Now, I do want to mention it's the 5 years, so like sometimes clients will move back, like they lived in it, they moved out of it, made it a rental, and sometimes they'll move back into it to try to avoid the capital
It needs
gains.
to be 2 years consecutively, correct?
It doesn't have to be consecutive.
Oh.
Yeah. So, if, where was I going with that? The one thing I'll note on that, I think a lot of clients think that they can be very savvy with that, and I think that's a great tool. What they don't realize is they have to go, the depreciation they took when it was a rental, they have to go claim that back as income.
Oh, wow.
And so they think they're off without paying any taxes, and they don't realize there's that piece. And some properties can, that could be 30 grand in depreciation very easily. So, did I answer that question for everybody? Okay. I think the next, one of the other topics of interest were how much of my commission check should I be putting to the side for taxes? Anybody here read Profit First by Mike Michalowicz? Yeah, some of you. It's a fantastic book if you guys ever have any interest in it. To kind of give you the gist of what the book is about is kind of, I'm gonna go back to like maybe a Dave Ramsey with his personal finances. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. If you budget $200 for groceries, you're putting $200 cash inside an envelope and you only get to use that. With businesses, we can't use cash, we gotta use bank accounts. So Profit First uses a methodology where they have several bank accounts. And every time you have a commission check, you would transfer a set percentage into each of those accounts. So I bring that up because I think it's a great book for you guys to take a look at. The tax piece on there, he suggests, there's a whole schedule he has based off of your income, how much you should be putting to the side. I find that if you're reading that book, it's a little bit less because of your industry specific. His guidelines are very general for all industries. So, for instance, he may say 15% of your commission check needs to go into your tax account. What I have found with most of my realtors, and it ranges, can be anywhere from 20 to 30% of your commission check. The reason why it ranges is because your commission checks are your sales. You guys have all of your expenses that you get to deduct off of that before you calculate your taxes on your profit. And there could be very different, you may spend more money than he may spend. Buyer agents versus sellers agents, oftentimes have very different types of expenses. A new agent may be paying a lot more for lead sources, whereas maybe a more experienced agent has a better referral business. Lots of different things factor in. That's one of the reasons why there's a big range. So I would say if I didn't know anybody, I'd say 30% is always conservative, but this is a conversation you can definitely have with your accountant. My accounts usually fall exactly in the same every single year, but it's just specific to that person. The one thing I will note on that in the Profit First book that I think would be very helpful for you guys is I think sometimes, I see sometimes as realtors that maybe our expenses are really, really high. You guys are working a lot and make very little at the end of the year. Take a look at this book. It'll help you guys get your expenses kind of in check and have a better guide of how much you should really be bringing home. And I think as a new agent, we often get kind of caught up in, I need to invest in my business and invest. And that is certainly true. But make sure you decide how much you're willing to invest before you kind of cut that off, because otherwise it'll just roll in from year 1 to year 5, and it just keeps rolling. Anybody have a question on the percentage of commission that I would be putting to the side? So the last topic that Aaron asked for me to touch on was how often we should be paying our taxes and penalties to avoid and things of that nature. So we are required to pay in all of our taxes during the year. And we have quarterly payments. I will note that it's April and then June, which is not at the end of the quarter, September, which is also not at the end of the quarter, and then again, January 15th. So a lot of people get caught off guard with those two funky months. If you paid 110% of what you owed last year, you're in the safe harbor. You're not gonna get penalized. If you paid 90% in of what you owed, then you also will not get penalized. So the big factor here is to make sure you're making those quarterly payments. If you're new, and you didn't realize you were gonna have to owe a whole bunch, you can usually get a first time abatement. You can call in one time and say, listen, I didn't realize it, now I know, and they'll just waive the penalty. Yes.
How do you recommend going about quarterly taxes? Like last year, I think everyone had a great year salary wise, so we're going off of that for this year, but I think with like, I do most of my business in 2 quarters, so I might not make a paycheck the first quarter of next year with a baby. Are you still responsible for that number? Like, what if I can't pay that number? How does that work with trying to avoid penalties and keeping that? Especially if you go from making 100 grand one year, maybe to 70K the next year. Like, how would you, because Uncle Sam thinks you just make the same money every year, and that's not really the case for some of us.
So this is what I was saying, they do require 4 evenly quarterly payments. I will tell you that regardless if you're making all your money in the fourth quarter or not. But as long as you pay in 90% of what you owe this year, which could be drastically different than last year, like we just talked about, you're safe.
What if you just, and that's hard, and
It's hard to know.
in February, knowing what you're gonna make at the end of the year, you know?
It is so hard.
So you're probably facing a penalty unless you're fronting up all that money.
Usually, like following that methodology that we just talked about, usually you'll find a rhythm in that. Because you're not emptying out. You've saved some of your side of the taxes, to be able to do that on a more rhythmic basis.
How much does the penalty, like, if you wouldn't, is it substantial, is it?
It's a percentage, there's all, there's a whole bunch here, there's failure file, there's all these penalties that we can apply for, so it can definitely depend on how much it's, it can be a lot. So I think that opens up the floor to any questions, specific questions you guys may have. No? Awesome. I have a sheet down there for important dates to remember. They're probably more so for the newer agents and you're just, posted somewhere so you know when you guys owe it. The one thing I will note that we didn't talk about 1099s. Does anybody here have to prepare 1099s? You all receive them. Do you have to prepare them?
Yes, I do.
Preparing them for.
You talking about me or you?
He's talking to you.
Oh. Like subcontractors and stuff like that.
A lot of agents don't realize that you guys are responsible for filing your own 1099 if you're using people. Professional services, a photographer could be a great example of one. Website developer, things of that. If you pay them more than $600 during the year, then you're required to issue them a 1099. The exclusion is if you pay them via PayPal, you don't have to issue one, and if you pay them a credit card, you do not have to issue one. So thank you guys so much for your time.
We're doing fantastic on time. Hey, let's have some fun. Ready to have some fun? Come on up, we're gonna go. Yeah, all right, come on.
Really like that memo.
Even though I wore my fun socks, in, I don't get
I don't
to
have
vote.
it.
You don't get
This thing is such awful quality.
Oh, no, it's.
You just wanted to point at the boobs.
I like the belly button.
It's like an episode of Botched.
I got Okay, first Jen's gonna get a picture. And thanks for playing. Okay, so January, we're gonna do tailgate. Maybe we'll bring in some fun food. Wear your favorite jersey. I figured the boys could get around that one.
Lance, I think your belly button's
All right, we're gonna do this for a round of applause. Hey, we have a sheet skipper on the line.
I vote for Diane.
All right, and we're voting for Lizzie. Round of applause, voting for Lizzie. Megan, round of applause, voting for you. Diana.
Yeah.
Candy, all right, and Jazzy, the alphabet.
This is a
Yes,
kindergarten
I
class,
think we
yes.
have a one. Oh, is it making sure? I mean, Diana, sorry, yeah. All right, hold on, we can get the card now.
I mean, that's a great song.
Free transaction.
Oh, hey, wait, hold on.
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
you're
throw
right.
these in.
Hold on, wait, we gotta do it. We gotta do it
That's-
now.
that's
Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, Esme. We didn't have everybody's cards. Does anybody else have anybody to throw in? Do I have any Zoomies I need to throw in? Yeah, okay. Okay, ready. All right, Diana, do it again.
Mike Jones.
Hell yeah.
I was hoping she would drop it again today.
I saw my knee.
All right, sheet skip card.
What did I just get?
You got a free transaction fee.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
Katie. All right, you get to give away the
Hey,
last
I'm just
sheet.
pumping up transaction. Some coming up, some good. And a cap.
We got two programs.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for coming. So we are moving the office meeting from Wednesdays to Tuesdays. Because everything's gonna happen on Tuesday, okay? Because what day are you coming into the office?
Tuesday.
Tuesday, what's happening on Tuesday?
Everything.
Woo! Okay,
So,
so Tuesday, January 17th is our next meeting. We don't meet in December, but I think we should do like a cookie swap or I don't know, something fun. I'll think about it. And then Wednesday, January 18th, the day after this, we have Michelle McBride coming to do agent financials, which if you have not taken that class is by far one of my top 3 favorites. One that I learned so much in, that's definitely going to be a big heavy hitter. We'll take registrations for that because it'll be a packed room.
If we're doing, are you moving the office meeting time then? If we're doing training?
No, it'll replace the 11 o'clock training.
So which weekend, which Tuesday of the month? Second or the third?
I think it's technically the 3rd. Did I count right?
I don't know, I'm just asking.
All right.
So the 17th of January?
Yeah.
And then don't forget that I believe our RAD dues bills have gone out.
Yes.
They're due, I think the 5th
The 5th of
of
January.
January.
Yep.
But you can pay them anytime.
Yep.
Thank you.
Great attendance today, guys. Thank you so much for showing up. I'll always show up for you. Thank you for showing up for me.
Hell, fire stairs.
Yeah,
Fire
my
stairs.
Jones with it.
I might be one of them.
Mike's out.
I'm out. We're going back to the bike shop.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go work back to work it actually.
Less stressful.
$12 an hour.
I saw Harley Davidson hiring like
Oh, yeah.
machine.
$32.
Yeah, it's like 30, 75. For to make machine specific parts or something like that. I'll do that.
When does